Hello and welcome back to the Spiritual Shitshow. My name is Nguyen, and it is my honor to share my stories, my process, my journey with you, because I do know for a fact that we are all here on the planet at this time because there is a sense, a knowing, a truth behind that we are all one. And when we each really show up in who we are authentically, and when we show up with the courage to share our unique, ever-evolving gifts to the world, that one light definitely sparks the light in others. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. In my own spiritual shit show, I can see how I would get trapped in the loop of fear, trapped in the loop of thought, of even the habit of continuing to output, continue to put myself out there. And I was just like, I'm fishing my dreams, and I would catch nothing. And that became an energetic pattern for me that really led me down to a moment, or moments, I should say, to be true, moments of depression and despair, and really chipped away at, what the fuck am I doing? Like, is anybody out there? Am I important? Am I not good at this? Like, it just, that's the truth of what was happening. And now that I am on the other side of it, I am working on my ability to reframe the story. So when I go back and look at my past, I can actually see it from a different lens. I can see it from a higher perspective. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, which is the power of reframing, which is the power of seeing things through a different lens, shifting our stories and unlocking the energy that keeps us stuck. Now, again, I am right there in the trenches with you. And a lot of this work is lifelong work. I'm currently in a trauma-informed somatic therapy certification course. And I love it because most of the women in this course are, in their 50s and 60s. And so when we practice our skills together, and it's like, okay, so what do you want to work on today? And they're like, work on? God, there's so much to work on. So this is also, no matter where you are in life, the reminder that we are constantly working on ourselves. Like, we are literally a work in progress, and there is no happily ever after in life that we get the career and the money and things are great. It's not that this, and I want to be able to say this too, that nobody tells us that we are constantly a work in progress, that just the same way that we feed our bodies every day and need to work out, we also need to have the ability to self-reflect or reframe or clear out our energy. So bottom line, that's what all this podcasting is about. And I am teaching from my own experience, and I fully believe in the teach, learn, teach philosophy. So it is my honor to share what I have gone through, and maybe it'll fast track your self-evolution process. But regardless, let's get back to it. So we all have narratives about who we are, what has happened to us, and what is possible for our future. And a lot of these belief systems really developed in our childhood and through a lot of these events in our lives. We can also develop our belief systems through what other people tell us. And it's our job to always say, are these stories true? And or is this true for me now? Like, these belief systems that I have, they may have worked and been of service to me. Maybe they protected me, or maybe they gave me courage, or whatever it is at a certain point in my life. But is it true for me now? And when we believe the stories that other people tell us, I think we each have a fear of what other people might think. And we tend to groove then our path in life based on what other people think, or what it's going to look like, or what are people going to say. And I want you to remember that the different make the difference. The different make the difference. And you are an incredibly unique, one-of-a-kind version of the universe with your own soul blueprint. And you are here to do it differently. And how you experience and express and move through life is so organically yours. And so that's why it's so important to be able to shift your perspective. And when we do that, it can completely change our reality. Energy follows focus. And I just literally before I got onto this podcast, I did a voice memo to my friend and I was like, do you want to join my Master Manifestor Club? It hasn't really officially started yet, but I would love accountability on this. Can we each just focus for a week and see what happens? Focus on what it is that we intentionally, deliberately, lovingly, authentically want to experience in our lives, and just like laser beam focus to that. And let's just see what happens. So if you'd like to join this mastermind club that hasn't really officially started yet, just let me know, because I think it could be fun. It's great to have accountability, and it's also great to have these touchstones in life where it's like, dang, I did that and then this happened, and I did that and then this happened. And then that actually builds the energetic muscle for it to become even stronger in our lives. I digress. Let's get back on track. The point being is energy follows focus. And if you've ever felt trapped in a repeating pattern, whether that's in relationships or money or self-worth, there's a good chance you're operating from an old story that has been running in the background of your subconscious. I definitely have noticed that in my life, that because I haven't cleared up or cleared out this old program, the same thing is just continuously happening. And again, this is why the energy work, the self-awareness, the accountability, it is needed. It is needed the same way we need food and water and exercise. I also want to just remind you that our brains and our nervous systems love familiarity. I remember when I was in the shit show of my life, there was a moment of despair, and I was praying like, please just throw me back to what I was, like the shitstorm that I just walked out of. I would prefer that right now in this moment, because at least I knew it. I was familiar with it. I knew how to handle it. I don't know how to handle this unknown. I don't know how to handle a new beginning. And if you've ever experienced that as well, just know that that is also totally normal. And as we're cleaning out our system of beliefs, old energetic patterns, it's good to remember that even if a belief system doesn't serve us anymore, there may be a part of us that still wants it around, because that belief system makes us feel safe, because it's known, and or in some ways it is still protecting us. And so without realizing it, we end up repeating cycles. Even if we don't want it, we're attracting the same kinds of people, hitting the same emotional walls, or struggling with the same limiting beliefs. But what if that story wasn't actually set in stone? Maybe there's a way to look back at the story and see it from a different tone, see it from a different lens. And what if you could rewrite your history, not by changing the facts, but by changing what they mean? This is an incredible journaling exercise, and something that I am currently working on, and really, really resonating with the power of this exercise. Let's talk about the power of reframing and what reframing is. So reframing is the practice of shifting your perception of a situation, belief, or memory. It doesn't mean ignoring reality, and it doesn't mean changing the truth of the past. It just means choosing a new way to see it so that it empowers you rather than limits you. In the somatic course that I'm taking right now, one of the skills was going back to a traumatic event and inserting warning, like pausing, freeze framing that scene in your head, and then allowing yourself to insert warning, as if somebody's going to say, okay, look, this is about to happen. We're here with you. We want to let you know that you are getting through it, but this is about to happen. So this is a skill in rewiring traumatic events. And in my own practice, I brought in the invitation of going back into my life, these parts where I thought were really, really hard, and allowing myself to see it from another perspective and inserting joy. And I realized in that, I was like, dang, I was such a badass in my 20s, 30s. Like I had 2 businesses by the time I was 26. I bought all of my cars. I bought 2 houses. Like I was a baddie. And I never allowed myself to really celebrate all the things that I accomplished at such a young age. So with this skill, this power of reframing, so my physical body at that time was like, I am so mad. All these things got taken away from me. It's been so hard to start over again. Wah, 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 which is totally valid. That is true. And I brought in the practice of, go back to your 21-year-old self and bring in a guide with you and allow yourself, your higher self, your guide to see you like, dang, look how courageous that is to open up a business and you're only 21. Or look how incredible that is to take a whole team of dancers to a big national convention and win and do well and you're only 23. This is an example of reframing the old story. And by doing that, I was reminded of, oh gosh, I had so much courage. I still have courage. I had so much confidence. I still have confidence. I was such a bright light. Damn, I still am a bright light. What the hell? I still have access to all of these things. Another thing is, in like reframing your past, you could say, I was abandoned, so I'm unlovable. And a reframe is, I experienced abandonment. And through that, I learned how to love myself deeply. I learned how to create strong boundaries. I learned my worth, and I learned how to create a secure relationship. Can you see how in these experiences or in these examples that we are able to shift the victimhood, which I don't like to say because, I guess maybe let me say we're able to shift from the hurt and transition it and really see the empowerment in it all, to see our strength, to see our resilience, to see our courage, to see the confidence. I think that's what it is being able to move from a state of hurt, which is valid, and also see like, wow, to validate yourself. Another example is instead of saying I failed, so I'm not good enough, I can reframe it and say that experience showed me exactly what I needed to learn to succeed the next time. It offered me clarity, actually. It offered me strength. And being able to reframe is a superpower. It's how you take your wounds and turn them into wisdom. I love that. Being able to reframe the stories of your past is a superpower. It's an ability to take your wounds and turn them into wisdom. Hell yeah. Okay. Because I also love energy and I see energetic patterns and soul patterns, as well as the logical, like how the brain works and how the nervous system works. We're going to tap into the energetics of reframing. And everything in the universe is energy, including your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. The stories you hold shape your energetic frequency, and it also strengthens your energetic frequency, which in turn influences what you attract into your life. If you are holding onto a story of lack, you're going to naturally vibrate at the frequency of scarcity. If you're stuck in a story of unworthiness, your energetic field will reflect that, making it harder to receive love, abundance, and success. We are constantly putting out frequencies. The energy that we radiate out, the universe has no choice but to respond to. And this is why reframing is such a good tool, because when we decide to see things from a different perspective, we literally shift our energetic field. Again, do you want to practice this with me? This sounds so fun. I can't wait. I want to open new pathways. I want to attract new opportunities and begin to experience life with more abundance, more joy, more ease, more incredible, magical opportunities, more groundedness, more balance. Reframing is an act of energetic alchemy. It's how you take something heavy and transmute it into something powerful. All right, so this is what I'm working on for the week, and I would love for you to join me as well. Get your notebook out and write this down. This is what we're going to do. Number one, we're going to catch our thoughts. We're going to notice when we're stuck in an old belief system. And we're going to ask ourselves, is this true? Is this thought that I just had about myself or this situation or this person or about money, or is this just a perspective that I've been holding on to? So we're going to catch the thought and we're going to ask, is this true? And then my mentor a long time ago said, when you catch these thoughts that are not true, you press cancel, control, delete, which I think is like an old computer thing. I'm not techie. That may not be a thing anymore, but that's how you would delete a file, cancel, clear, delete, or something like that. Anyway, in your mind, delete it, put it in the trash, send it on its way. So we want to clear out our files, our energetic files. We want to create space for new ones to be there. And we want to highlight and be happy with the files that we have that are serving us. And number 2 is we're going to ask ourselves a better question. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Why does this always happen to me? We're going to ask, how is this actually serving me? What is it trying to teach me? This was super powerful when I was so anxiety filled. I had a month of real depression where I laid on my bathroom floor in a comforter on the bathroom floor for literally a month. And I just told everybody I was sick. And then that spiraled into such anxiety that I could never even leave the house. And I definitely couldn't go to the grocery store. Anytime I was in a checkout line, I would have a panic attack and I'd have to embarrassingly leave my groceries there because I was melting, and I would run out of the store with literally half my groceries and things on the belt and half bagged, and I would bolt because I was in a massive panic attack. Obviously, I needed to seek help for that because you cannot live the rest of your life that way. And the one question that the therapist asked me was, how is your anxiety serving you? And once we did a little deep dive into how is the anxiety serving me, it was, well, it's protecting me. And once I realized that it was protecting me and what it was protecting me from, I haven't had an anxiety attack since. Reframe, reframe, reframe. Get curious, get curious, get curious. Number 3, we're going to change the meaning. Instead of focusing on the pain of the experience and allowing yourself to get looped in to that pain story, I want you to ask yourself, how did this shape me? How is this preparing me for something greater? And I will say, again, when I was in my shit show and people were trying to help me through and they would just say, let it go, let it go, let it go. It was hard. So I just kind of want to insert right there that shifts take time, that change just takes persistence and compassion for self and time. So this last question just kind of triggered that for me because it's like, how is this preparing me for something greater? If you ask somebody who's in their pain at that moment, they'll probably be like, it's fucking not. It's not preparing me for shit. So just know that that is a real deal too. And when you're having strong emotions, it's okay to have those strong emotions. And, we can gently change and see the meanings of things. And this, again, might just take some time to do so. But as I was reading that, that is what came up for me too. All right. So let's just do a little backtrack. What we're doing this week is we're catching thoughts and we're asking, is this thought, this belief, this story, is it serving me in my life now? And if it's not, we're deleting it. What is serving me? I am powerful. I'm creative. I am resilient. Another thing I want to keep in mind is every time we move something out energetically, psychically, moving in a belief system, we have to replace it with something else. Otherwise, that old energetic kind of soot is still there, and this is also how we attract the same thing back in. So that's just a little energetic part. So anything we move out, we also want to be able to name and rename what is true. What's the light of all of this? So catching your thought, is this true? If it's not, delete it and replacing it with what is true. Ask yourself a better question. Ask, how is this serving me? How is this protecting me? What is this trying to teach me? Number 3, change the meaning of an old pain story. How did it shape me? How is this preparing me for something greater? And if you're not in that space to authentically be in it, that's okay too. Number 4, we are moving energy. Your body holds the stories. We do have cellular memory, and being in an embodied practice, so dancing or yoga or just shaking, breath work, Really does. If we are moving stuck energy, we have to move it through the body. We can't just talk it out. We can't just avoid it either. It's not going to go away. We literally have to do these things that allow stuck energy to integrate, to move through, to process. And then you get to reconnect with the truth of who you are. Maybe in that moment, then you're like, dang, I really sense my resilience, or I sense my wisdom, or I sense, I just have a greater appreciation for my body's wisdom, actually, whatever it is. And then we're going to speak the new story. Journal or say out loud, I choose to see this differently. This experience is happening for me, not to me. Again, that's kind of a really hard statement though sometimes. I'm not going to lie. And I'd want to punch somebody in the face when I was in the depths of moving through something really hard and somebody's telling me that it's happening to me or for me and not to me. So again, whatever your process is your process, and honor and validate that. But if we can reframe it just a little bit, being able to see it from a different perspective. And I will say, for me, going back into these parts of my life and having a guide there, it can be like an imaginative guide, it can be an archangel, it could be, an ancestor, whatever you can in your imagination bring in that aligns best with you. It's kind of like what's that Christmas story? And like the ghost of Christmas past or whatever, like these ghosts come in and show you your life. And at the end of it, you kind of see your life from a different perspective. That's kind of like how reframing is. If you don't know that Christmas story, just know this. Bringing in a guide for me and revisiting these really painful parts of my life and having a guide there with me felt like in those moments, I was not alone. And it helped me to realize that I chose it on many levels, and then it helped me actually build a deeper acceptance for what was, what is, and empowered my ability to create my life forward in a more empowered and love-filled, creative, embodied, graceful way. So I just wanted to put that in there too, because ultimately these tools can be used as just doorways for you to access what works for you. And then I want to hear how you experience it, how you experience these shifts and these changes. But what I do know is when we shift our perspective, we shift our energy. And when we shift our energy, you shift your reality. Thank you so much for being here. I am sending you so much love. I believe in you so much. And until next time, be well.